ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we saw from the previous verse that when the Lord saw that this argument by the great sages who are cursing the two doormen is aggravating more and more, so in order to save his devotees, the Lord personally with his consort Srimati Lakshmi arrived at the spot. So in today's verse it is a description about how the Lord arrived not only with Mother Lakshmi but all his other different personal associates of the Lord also accompanied the Lord, and they were holding umbrella. The associates of the Lord were holding umbrella for the Lord, and some of them were doing chamara for the Lord. And like this the Lord arrived at that place, and these four sages, the four Kumaras, they were wonderstruck because they had never seen the Lord personally face to face. Earlier they had seen the Lord in yogic trance in their meditation inside their heart as Super Soul Paramatma. But they had not seen Bhagavan, they had not seen personality of Godhead face to face and get an opportunity to serve him. So here they were filled with wonder to see that personality whom they were seeing inside their heart. Now they were able to see him face to face. So this is the description which is described here. Tam tu agatam, the Supreme Lord arrived there. Pritihata apikam swapumbhis. Swapumbhis means with his own associates. When the Lord arrived, along with him the different associates also arrived, carrying Pratihrita Apaikam. Apaikam means the different paraphernalias of the Lord. Like further it is described, they were carrying umbrella and chamara to the Lord. Te achakshata aksha vishayam swasamadhi bhagyam. Now te means these four sages, the four Kumaras. Achakshata, now they were seeing directly, face to face, what they were seeing. Aksha Vishayam, the Lord who is actually not visible to these mundane eyes, but who is the subject matter of seeing. Achakshata aksha vishayam swasamadhi bhagyam. The Lord who was earlier visible to them only in samadhi has now become visible achakshata. Now they were able to see him directly, face to face. And then the beautiful description about the beauty of the Lord accompanied with his associates is very beautifully described. Hamsa Shriyor Vyajanayoho Shivavayu Lolat. The Vyajanaha, the Chamara, when they were being, whisked around the Lord, when they were waving the chamar for the Lord, it was looking like Hamsa Shriyor, as if two white swans from both the sides, from both the sides the Lord was being offered this chamar seva. So Hamsa Shriyor Vyajanayoho, it was looking like that there are two beautiful swans which are moving. Shivavayu Lolat, and because of moving the chamar like this, it was producing a very gentle, cool breeze. Shivavayu Lolat. Then Shubhra Atapatra. So because of the movement of this chamara and because of the wind which was, the breeze which was blowing because of the chamara, Shubha Atapatra, the white Atapatra means the umbrella which was being carried by the associates of the Lord. It was also looking very beautiful. It was looking as if Shashi, it was looking like a moon. And then Keshara, the pearls which were hanging from the umbrella, they were also moving because of the breeze of the wind. And this gave rise to a sight where it looked like Shikhara Ambum, that from the white moon as if there are amrita or water droplets falling down. So Prabhupada translates, the sages headed by Sanaka Rishi saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who was formerly visible only within their hearts in ecstatic trance, had now actually become visible to their eyes. As he came forward, accompanied by his own associates, bearing all paraphernalia, such as an umbrella and a chamara fan, the white bunches of hair moved very gently. So the chamara moved very gently, like two swans. And due to their favorable breeze, the pearls garlanding the umbrella also moved. How did they move? Like drops of nectar falling from the white full moon, or ice melting due to the gust of wind. So this is the beautiful description given about when the Lord arrived at this place. So actually we can see that the Supreme Lord is not alone, isn't it? Everything is there in the spiritual world. Spiritual world is not vacant. It is not that nothing is there in the spiritual world. Actually the material world is just, it is a reflection of the spiritual world, but it is upside down reflection. It is not proper reflection. It is reflected in upside down manner. That means what is pure in the spiritual world becomes transformed here as lust. The love of the Supreme Lord, what the living entities have in the spiritual world for the Lord, is upside down reflected in the form of lust for the other living entities and for other enjoying the material paraphernalia for sense enjoyment. So the spiritual world is filled with varieties. The material varieties are simply a reflection of the spiritual, actual real varieties of the spiritual world. So reflection has no substance in it. But from the reflection, one can understand that there is reality somewhere. That is very important. Just like if we are in desert and there is reflection of water because of mirage. So sometimes in the desert, because of the hot sand, it looks like that there is water there. But actually there is no real substance of water. It is only a conception of water is there. But by understanding that there is something called conception of water, if there is reflection of water, there must be original water. That is what one can understand. So from the false variety in the material world, one can understand there must be real varieties somewhere else. And that is what the description is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. That the spiritual world is filled with wonderful varieties. Here, the different varieties we see in the material world, they are all temporary. You see, these varieties do not exist forever. Just like this variety of body, it is not going to exist forever. It has come into place for some time, and after some time it will be vanquished, finished. Relationships do not exist forever. The forms do not exist forever. Relationships do not exist forever. Just like Bhagavatam explains, it's all because of karma. Just like sometimes we find, there are in the river there are waves, and because of the waves, different kinds of grasses, different kinds of leaves, different kinds of twigs, they all gather together. And sometimes they move together for some time. And after some time, again they go away to different places. So likewise, in this journey of life, because of our karma, just like sometimes we travel in the train in our journey, and then in our compartment, because of whatever different reasons, we come together. And when somebody's stop comes, then he has to get down, he goes away. When our stop comes, we also get down and we also go away. So likewise, in this journey of life, because of our previous different karmas, we come together in a society, in a family, in a nation, whatever different ways. And then according to our karma, we all go away. So where are the relationships? Who was my father in my last life? We have no idea. In this life, somebody is my father, somebody is my mother, somebody is wife, somebody is children. But all these things will disappear. Isn't it? So these varieties are false varieties. They are reflections of the spiritual varieties. So, sane person does not become attached to these varieties, false varieties. Understanding that what is the use of getting attached to this illusion? These are not going to exist forever. Isn't it? These are only reflection of the real varieties in the spiritual world. So, these beautiful descriptions are given in Srimad Bhagavatam. That spiritual reality is not some vacuum. It is not something vacant. There is a variety in the spiritual world. The Supreme Lord is there, and He is surrounded with His loving devotees, with His personal associates, with His servant, with His consort. And the Supreme Lord, when He arrived at Vaikuntha Dwara, He arrived with His consort, He arrived with Srimati Lakshmi, He arrived with His different associates, who were all carrying different paraphernalias for the Lord to serve Him. So, this is the difference between the material world and the spiritual world. Here also we can see, when somebody is a very important person, he is not alone. When the Prime Minister arrives, when the President of the country arrives, he doesn't arrive alone. He arrives with his, so many different personal secretaries and ministers. Just like imagine when a Prime Minister comes, then even the Chief Minister will come. Chief Minister will come, Home Minister will come, so many other ministers will come, MLAs, MPs, all of them will come. Isn't it? And before Prime Minister or before President comes, so many arrangements will be done. All these ministers will come earlier only. The different servants, government servants will come, the IAS officers, all these people will come, police commissioner will come. They will make all different arrangements, isn't it? To see that when the president or the prime minister comes, his visit is pleasing visit. So similarly, when the Lord is visiting Vaikuntha Dwara, all his different associates, they are accompanying, they are doing the chamar to the Lord, somebody is carrying umbrella for the Lord, isn't it? Because he is not just president for 5 years, prime minister for 5 years, no, isn't it? He is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the Moola. He is the origin of even all the devatas. He is the origin of Brahma. He is the origin of Lord Shiva. He is origin of Mother Lakshmi. He is origin of every living entity. Anadir, Adir. He has no beginning. He has no origin. But he is the origin of everyone. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He is the ultimate cause of all other causes. So that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that Supreme Lord arrived along with his different paraphernalia. And then Prabhupada is explaining a very important, very significant understanding in this verse. Prabhupada is saying, in this verse we find the word Achakshata Aksha Vishayam. The Supreme Lord cannot be seen by ordinary eyes, but he now became visible to the eyesights of the Kumaras. This is very wonderful. Just imagine, now we cannot see the Supreme Lord. Okay? And suddenly the Supreme Lord appears before us, and with these very eyes, we are able to see the Lord. With this very hand, we are able to serve the Lord. Isn't it wonderful? Because actually, the Supreme Lord is called Adhokshaja. Adhokrat Jnanam. That means the Lord who cannot be seen with any of our sensual perception. Anything. He cannot be seen with these mundane eyes. He cannot be served with these mundane senses. He cannot be apprehended with mundane knowledge. It is not possible. Anything, any knowledge derived from these mundane senses, the Lord cannot be seen. So that's why he is called Adhokshaja. And if the Supreme Lord becomes visible to these very eyes, isn't it very wonderful? So that is why the 4 Kumaras are struck with wonder that till now they had only seen the Lord in their heart, in their samadhi, when they were in trance, when they were completely in dhyana, in samadhi of the Lord. They were able to see the super soul Paramatma in their heart. But they had never imagined that that very Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has expanded in their heart as Paramatma, is now visible directly to them. So this was very wonderful to them. So that is what is described here. 2 things are very important, Prabhupada is saying. Achakshata Aksha Vishayam. What does it mean? The Lord, who cannot be seen with ordinary eyes, has become visible to the eyesight. Aksha Vishayam. He has now become a subject matter to be seen. Achakshata, they were able to see that Lord who cannot be seen with ordinary eyes. Another, Prabhupada is saying, another significant word is there. Samadhi Bhagyam. Samadhi Bhagyam means fortunate meditators. Only those who are very fortunate, they are able to perceive the Lord in Samadhi. The Lord cannot be seen by ordinary people, first of all. So very interesting things are described. Ordinary people with ordinary eyes cannot see. Meditating, the yogis who meditate on the Lord, with their internal eyes, they can see the Lord in their heart. But when they have become mature devotees, they will be able to see that very same Supreme Lord outside their heart, right in front of their eyes. With the same very eyes, they are able to see the Supreme Lord. So now how it has become possible? With ordinary eyes, we are not actually able to see the Lord. And then when we are in trance, we can see the Lord internally. But once we have become matured in devotional service, we can see the Supreme Lord directly, face to face, with eyes. So what is the difference? So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport how it became possible, how this is possible. So this is possible when the quality of these eyes have changed. When the same eyes have become purified. When our eyes are materially affected, we can only see material things. When materialism has gone from our consciousness, the eyes become purified. Our senses have become purified. Then we can see the Lord. So how this purification is possible? That is very nicely described. Prabhupada is quoting that verse. Of course, not the verse, but Prabhupada is quoting that in this paragraph. Prabhupada is saying, when they are mature, the same God is visible before them face to face. For ordinary person, Lord is not visible. However, when one can understand the significance of His holy name and one engages himself in devotional service to the Lord, beginning with the tongue, by chanting and tasting prasadam, then gradually the Lord reveals Himself. Anyone remembers that verse? Atha Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhavet Grahyam Indriyaihi. Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's associates, none of these things. We can see grahyam, na grahyam indriyaihi. With these indriyas, it is not possible to conceive them. It is not possible. But sevon mukhehi jivhado, the moment we start serving the Lord in devotional service, and that devotional service begins with tongue. Sevon mukhe hi jivhado. When we use our tongue to serve the Lord. So Prabhupada is saying tongue has two important purposes: to vibrate, to chant, and to taste Krishna prasadam. So with this service to the Lord, by serving, by honoring prasadam, and by chanting the holy name and hearing the holy name of the Lord, gradually the senses will become purified. Then what will happen? Swayam eva hi spurati adaha. The Lord gradually becomes visible directly to the Lord. So, that is what is Prabhupada is saying here. In one conversation with one of his disciples, Bhavananda, Prabhupada explains this. So Prabhupada was traveling with them in his vehicle, and Bhavananda and other few devotees were there. So Bhavananda, he at that time was a sannyasi, and he was following Chaturmasya Vrata, and he was taking only once in a day he was taking prasadam. So some austerity he was performing. So Prabhupada was explaining to him that actually the real essence of Krishna consciousness is to become purified. The most important thing is to purify our senses, is to become free from all desires. So Prabhupada was explaining that if you want to advance more and more in Krishna consciousness, then you have to give up all different kinds of desires. So then Prabhupada explained, if we keep any desires in this material world, Krishna is very merciful to fulfill our desires. So then again you will have to take another body to fulfill those desires. So what is actually required is to become free from all these different desires. And then Prabhupada explained the process of getting rid of all these desires. So then Prabhupada said, these jnanis, even though they want to become free from desires, even they cannot become free from desires. They have a desire of merging in the Brahman. Even though they want to become free from all desires, material desires, but still they are not able to become free from desire. They still maintain the desire, I want to merge in Brahman. Even the yogis, then Prabhupada said, even the yogis, they are not able to become free from desire. So even though the yogis, they are attached to mystic powers. So even they are not able to become free, and they desire liberation from this world. So even they are not free from material desires. And then Prabhupada said, it is only by practicing devotional service you can become completely free from desires. It's only by practicing devotional service. And then Prabhupada gave the example. If the gold is impure, if the gold is not pure, you take it to bathroom, you wash it with soap, the impurities will not be removed. By ordinary process, you cannot wash the impurities of the gold. Is it possible? You put some water, you put some acid, or brush it nicely, and you think, now this impure gold will become purified. That is not possible. So Prabhupada said, the purifying process of gold from impurities is put it in fire. Put it in fire. The more it burns in fire, the more it will become purified. So, our desires have to be burned in fire of Krishna consciousness. Our existence can become purified only when these desires are burned, these impure desires are burned in the fire of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said that the only method of purifying our material desires is to burn it in Krishna consciousness. So, very nicely Prabhupada said, this is an example that without being put into fire, there is no purity of gold or silver. Similarly, without being engaged in the service of the Lord, there is no question of purifying the desires. So, sevon mukhehi jivhado swayam eva spurati ada. Because we may wonder how by engaging, what is happening? Because when we are engaging our senses in the service of the Lord, the senses are getting purified. Our desires are getting purified. So how these sages were able to see? Because their desires were purified. They were able to see the Lord face to face. The same Lord which they were seeing earlier in their heart, in mystic trance, now they were able to see personally the Lord face to face, because their eyes had become purified. So this is possible in mature stage of devotional service. There is another very nice verse which we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, which explains about the samadhi of a devotee and the samadhi of these meditators. That how there is a difference between the two samadhis. That Prabhupada explains it very nicely, very beautifully in the purport of that. That actually the devotee can enter into trance just by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. He doesn't have to control his senses, bring senses under control like this yogic process they do. Actually yama, niyama, all this process of yoga is to control the senses and search out Paramatma in the heart. Devotee doesn't have to search out. Just by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, just by meditating on the deities of the Lord, just by meditating on Krishna Katha, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the devotee can be in samadhi. So Prabhupada explains there is a lot of difference between these two. Just like in today's purport also Prabhupada explains about when the same yogi becomes mature in devotional service, he will be able to see the Lord face to face. When he is not so much mature in devotional service, in samadhi, in his heart as Paramatma, he can see the Lord. So this is a prayer by Shukdev Goswami which we chant also. Yad angri abhidhyana samadhi dhotaya dhiyanu pashyanti hi tattvam atmanaha vadanti chetat kavayo yatharucham same mukundo bhagavan prasidatam. So he's saying the devotees get into trance just by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Yad angri abhidhyana samadhi dhotaya. Just by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Angri means lotus feet of the Lord. Abhidhyana, thinking at every second, is called abhidhyana. The devotee enters into trance. Samadhi. That is a samadhi. What happens because of that? Dhotaya, dhiya. His intelligence becomes dhotaya, purified. His intelligence has become purified. And what happens when his intelligence has thus become purified? Anupashyanti hi tattvam atmanaha. He can see, anupashyanti. Just like here it is said, they were apashyat, they were able to see, achakshataha, they were able to see the Supreme Lord directly. So when the senses, when the intelligence, when the mind has become purified, by thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord always or constantly, the devotee is able to see the Lord directly. So, dhyanu pashyanti hi tattvam atmanaha. So, they are able to see the Lord. For them now, this Lord is like this, Lord is like that. All those theories have become finished. Whereas, still, even though somebody is a great jnani, great philosopher, for them, still they are not able to describe the Lord. Vadanti chetat kavayo yatharucham. They are describing according to their own understanding. Somebody is describing God is like this, somebody is describing God has no hand, no legs. Then they are all describing in their own terms. So, Prabhupada translates, it is the personality of Godhead, that is Mukunda. He is saying, Same Mukundo Bhagavan Prasidata. It is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna who gives liberation by thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following in the footsteps of authorities. See? Anupashyanti. Anupashyanti means by following in the footsteps. The devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned, mental speculator, however, think of him according to their whims. Kavayo yatha rucham. According to their own way, according to their own whims, they think of the Supreme Lord. May that Lord be pleased with me. So in that purport, Prabhupada explains very beautifully the difference. The mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in a trance of yoga just to have a vision of super soul within everyone. See how difficult. First, so much hard effort he has to, different ashta, it is called ashta anga. So many different ways are there. Yama, niyama, then pranayama, and asanas. All this gymnastic he has to do just to control his senses, just to control the mind. So that's why Prabhupada is saying, so much effort to control the senses, then he may be situated in trance of yoga just to have a vision of the super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of disease of material enjoyment. You see, this is a real process. Just by thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, devotee's intelligence, his mind, his senses becomes purified. And then he can enter into trance. With that purified senses, with that purified eyes, he can see the Lord directly. So, Prabhupada further beautifully explains. The pure devotee thinks himself fallen into the ocean of birth and death, and incessantly prays to the Lord to lift him up. So the devotee of the Lord, he is actually surrendered to the Lord. That, my dear Lord, I am fallen in this material ocean. Please pick me up from this material ocean. And what do you do after picking me up? Just place me as a speck of dust at your lotus feet. Angry. So actually he is meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the whole idea. What is his prayer? My dear Lord, I am fallen in this material world. Please pick me up and just place me as a dust at your lotus feet. So this is how the devotee prays. The pure devotee, by the grace of the Lord, absolutely loses all attraction for material enjoyment. How? And to keep free from contamination. So this is the vaccine. If you want to be free from contamination of material desires, the vaccine is, he always thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. And then Prabhupada is giving the example of King Kulashekara. He prayed, Krishna tvadiya padapankaja panjarantam adveya me vishatu manasa raja hamsa prana parayan samaye kafava vatapittaihi kantha avruddhona vidhau smaranam kutaste. So he is saying, my dear Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be locked in their network. See how beautifully that prayer is. My mind is like Hamsa, so let it, drown and get locked in your two lotus feet. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think? Because with mind only we think. So he's saying, let my mind be locked at your lotus feet, now itself. You see. So then Prabhupada is explaining very beautifully. There is an intimate relationship between swan and the lotus stem. The comparison is very appropriate. Without becoming a swan or paramahamsa, one cannot enter into the network of lotus feet of the Lord. So, one cannot enter into the network of lotus feet of the Lord without becoming a hamsa or a paramahamsa. As stated in Brahma Samhita, mental speculator, even by the dint of learned scholarship, cannot even dream of the absolute truth, speculating for eternity. You see? And that is why, as it is said, as many conclusions, as many ways. Yatharucham. But the Lord is not like a shopkeeper trying to please all sorts of customer in mental speculator exchange. The Lord is what He is, the absolute personality of Godhead. And He demands absolute surrender unto Him only. The Lord is not saying, whatever way you want, you can approach me. He is not saying. He is demanding absolute surrender. Sarva dharman paritajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. He is not saying you surrender to devatas and still you will be able to reach me. No, it's not possible. Isn't it? The pure devotee, however, by following the ways of the previous acharyas, can see the Supreme Lord through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, anupashyanti. So, this is how it is explained, that just by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, just by being engaged in the service of the Lord, the devotee becomes purified, and in that mature stage of service to the Lord, he becomes completely purified and he'll be able to see the Lord face to face directly. Stop with this. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.